to A Reason to Heal with me, Erin Roszko. So happy you're here, and today is a really special episode for me. We are going to talk about my journey to sobriety. Before we get into it though, I would like to remind you to head over to my website, areasontoheal.com, and sign up for my email list. There's all kinds of wonderful things that would come to you in your inbox, including some freebies, some discounts, some affirmations, all kinds of wonderful things. So please go ahead and get over there and sign up. If you can't, feel free to like and subscribe down below, and let's get into it. Okay, so I would like to start this as I used to start any speaking engagement that I had in AA. So, hi, my name is Erin and I'm an alcoholic. And I want to talk a little bit about my story today. So when I was growing up, it was made aware to my sister and I that we had family members who were alcoholics, active alcoholics. One person in particular, we were told not to engage with, and if they ever showed up at our house, we were to call the police, and that was the model of an alcoholic that I had. That was the model. And I continuously compared myself to him and would say to myself, well, I'm not doing that, so I can't be an alcoholic. Never even crossed my mind that I was an alcoholic because I had his extreme example to compare myself to. I wasn't hiding liquor bottles under the seat of my car. I wasn't abandoning a family. I wasn't following my parents around wherever they went so they could enable me. It wasn't anything. I wasn't doing anything like that. But I didn't know what alcoholism was. I just knew about my one uncle who ended up passing away because of his alcoholism. Extremely sad. He suffered a lot. And if you're struggling with drinking, keep listening. Because if there's one thing that someone in active sobriety can teach you, it is spiritual fitness. It is self-worth. So I took my first drink when I was 13 years old. I was at my aunt's house and my cousin and I were hanging, watching TV. We were the same age at the time. And her oldest sister came in and asked us if we wanted a beer. And we were like, okay. Again, not super weird because I grew up in an Irish Catholic family. So they were really Roman Catholic, but they drank a lot, okay? At our confirmation party, they were singing into wine bottles because my confirmation name was Cecilia and everyone was drinking and having fun, and it was a normal thing in my household. Normal thing in my extended family household. So we drank, and I don't know how much we drank that night, but it started me on a path to very dangerous binge drinking. I always joked that I got my heaviest drinking out of the way in high school because, I mean, we drank a lot, like we did. And because drinking was so widely accepted in my family, my parents never really cared if they knew I was drinking. It was never really seen as anything horrible. Unlike when they found my weed in the house, they kicked me out, and it was like a whole thing. They were not into the drugs. Even though, anyway, doesn't matter. So I hadn't really had to suffer a lot of consequences for my drinking because I just didn't give a fuck. I found that alcohol numbed away pain that I used to numb away with other means that were also very unhealthy, and used to just drink to get away from my reality, to be a different person, to be a person who was loud, to be a person who was in your face if she wanted to be. She was just a character, okay? I got in, I wouldn't call them fist fights, but I punched a number of men in their faces because of whatever reasons, and I was a rageaholic. Very much so. Angry at everything. And I can honestly say that anger, I think, really started to take root after my uncle passed away in the World Trade Center on 9/11. He passed away, and I remember my dad asking me to go to church with him, again, Catholic church. And I went, and I just didn't really get anything out of it except anger. I left that church angry. How could God take away one of the best men that I know? How could that happen? And that sort of solidified. Now, I was a sophomore in high school at the time when 9/11 happened. So it was from then on that I just carried around this anger, and I carried around aggressiveness. I was very aggressive, very outwardly aggressive, especially when I was drinking, because at home it was strict. There wasn't a lot of understanding in my house growing up. It was like, this is it, do it this way, or you're grounded. It was very regimented, but without being regimented. I don't know, it was very weird, but excuse me. But I would go to college, and, you know, the normal thing to do there is party, so I did. I had spent all the money that I had saved, all $1,400 that I had saved from high school, and I spent it all in the first semester at school on beer, most likely. Beer and weed, actually. And graduated college by the skin of my teeth. I did it, though, and I was working, I was living with friends, living with my boyfriend, and just the alcohol use and the drug use was just going up. I got into my mid-20s, and I decided to stop drinking. I would try to stop drinking. I stopped drinking liquor, I stopped drinking wine, I stopped drinking beer, and I could never really do it. And I would have to keep smoking weed if I was going to stop drinking, and that ramped up. So, got out of a really long relationship, for me at least. It was 5 years we were together, and he pretty much sat me down and said, I never want to get married to you, I never want to have kids with you, and I want to break up. And it devastated me. I saw it coming a little bit, but like, it devastated me. And at the time when he broke up with me, I wasn't drinking. I was trying to stop drinking. And then I remember going to our apartment to pick up some things, and there was a bottle of wine on the counter, and I was like, well, do you care that I drink this? And he was like, man, if I had known you were gonna start drinking again, like, didn't say like we wouldn't have broken up, but like, sure, would have made it a lot easier to hang out. It's pretty funny how relationships can inform so much of our present. If it weren't for that relationship and the toxicity that was created in that match over time, I wouldn't be where I am. So he broke up with me, and I spiraled. I was drinking every night. I was going out to bars with friends. I was drinking, 5 to 7 tequila shots, plus like some Irish trash cans or vodka. Like, it was never enough. And shameful to say, I would drive home. Where I was living at the time, there were a lot of back roads that I was very familiar with because I grew up there. And I would drive home sometimes like this, trying to not see double. I thank God every day that I did not get in an accident or hurt someone, because it very easily could have happened. So, drinking, going out with my friends, just living life and not giving a fuck, okay? Getting in fights and dating around, sleeping around, just a maniac. At that time, I described myself as a tornado. And I was just a tornado going through life, sucking people in and spitting them out, okay? That's what I was doing. And it was just utter nonsense. Now, keep in mind, I was still working at this time. I was holding a stable job. I mean, wasn't the career of a lifetime or anything, but I was working, and I, again, had that to point to. I can hold a job. I can have friendships. I can function during the day. I'm not an alcoholic. Don't have a problem. Unbeknownst to me, my family were having lots of conversations behind my back, being concerned about my drinking. My parents were doing as they were modeled, which is enabling me. I was living in their basement. I wasn't really held accountable for things, and I think my siblings probably questioned it the most and said, I think she needs help. I also had a brother-in-law who worked at a sheriff's department. He was a deputy in the jails, and he said to my sister, I'm going to see her at my job one day. I know it. And it caused fights between them because she was defending me, saying that's not true. Well, what do you think happened? March 23rd, 2012, I got arrested for a DUI. It was out of my normal route of drinking. I was like in DC, and then I was in Reston, and then I was driving back, and I'm not used to coming from over there. And I went on a back road or like a side road to roll a joint so I could finish my drive home while smoking, and I blacked out, apparently did a U-turn, and almost hit a sheriff's deputy. I came out of my blackout standing on one foot on the side of the road, thinking to myself, why the fuck can't I do this? Why can't I stand on this one foot? And I couldn't. That's how drunk I was. Now, I was also taking some pills at the time that really like supercharged the alcohol. I had gone to the doctor a few times because I was having this like really bad abdomen pain, and I thought maybe it was a cyst because I'd had one of those before that had to be removed. It wasn't that, but they gave me a bottle of Vicodin or a bottle of Percocet. Here you go. Here's some Percocet. And then when I found out that wasn't the case, I went to another doctor and was like, I'm having this really bad abdomen pain. It's not a cyst. I'm not sure what it was. He couldn't figure out what it was. And can't figure it out. Here's some Percocets. They gave me some more narcotics. Come to realize months later that I'm pretty sure that abdomen pain was the early stages of cirrhosis, because my belly was so distended. I looked like I was pregnant, but I wasn't. So I'm on the side of the road, and the sheriff's deputy comes up with a breathalyzer, and he says, I'm going to need you to blow into this. And I said, I am not blowing into that. He was like, well, then I'm going to have to take you to jail. And I said, well, then fucking take me to jail. And I got in the car, he handcuffed me, put me in the car, he had my phone. And let me just tell you, I was a fucking monster to this man. A monster. I said horrible things to him. He went to my car, my Mini Cooper, grabbed stuff out of it, whatever, and then came back and drove me to jail. And the whole time I'm just like, how could you be so unsafe? You're speeding. What are you doing? I blacked out in the car. Came out of my blackout in the like booking area of the police station. And apparently it had taken 5 officers to get me out of the car because I was so aggressive. And that if it weren't for my brother-in-law working there, they probably would have put me in a restraint chair. This is how insane I was, you guys. I was insane. I was a wild animal that could not be tamed, that didn't give a shit about anyone, that only cared about myself. So I am sitting there and the police officer's trying to make small talk with me, and I'm like, I don't have to answer any question. He's like, I'm just trying to be nice. And I was just like, fuck you. And then he started talking to this other woman who had gotten arrested for a DUI. And I said to her, you don't have to talk to him. Just like losing my mind. So I had never been arrested before. I didn't know what happened in jail. So like I didn't think I was actually going to jail. I thought I could just call my parents, they'll pick me up, la-di-da. That's not what happened. So they took me into a room to have me blow into another breathalyzer, and they kind of scared me into doing it, and I did it. But blew 0.16, and they put me in jail. And I remember crossing the threshold to be behind locked doors, and the female officer, the female deputy that was supervising me getting changed, was just very jaded and like shaking her head at me. And I realized when I had to strip all my clothes off and put on these jail clothes that I wasn't going anywhere. So I got in the drunk tank. There was only one other woman in there, and she had thrown up all of herself on the floor and was kind of laying near the toilet. I started screaming to see my brother-in-law, thinking he could get me out of this. But the reality is he was watching the whole time, but they wouldn't let him see me in case he had to put hands on me because I was so aggressive. So I would be in jail for 15 hours because 0.16 takes about an hour. And I called my dad a number of times. I think I called him twice. And every time he said, Erin, sit tight, say some prayers, and we'll see you when you get out of there. And I know how hard that was for him because it was his brother who passed away from alcoholism. And don't get me wrong, like I'm pretty sure the drinking problems are in him too, but not the point of the story. So I sat there wanting to kill myself. And I just started scratching my arm, like just trying to like get some deep cuts. And they took me out to go see the nurse, and I was like, you guys, I need my medication. I don't have my medication. I need to have my medication. Like, and she was like, you'll get it when you get out. Like, they did not care. They've heard it all, right? Like, they've heard it all. So I go back in, and I just have so many dark thoughts of wanting to find a way to swan dive into the concrete floor to kill myself. We haven't really gotten to this in our episodes yet, but I do struggle with mental health illness. It's just part of my life for a very long time. And I was medicated, but was the medication even doing anything with how much I was drinking? I doubt it. So it was a sobering night in the drunk tank. And it was. So I got out the next day, and I had a text from my friend who was like, hey, did you get home okay? And I replied, no, I just got out of jail. He was like, oh. Apparently, the night I got arrested, when I was out with my friends, I became very aggressive with them. They tried to not let me drive home. They tried to take my keys, and I basically threatened to kick their ass. And So they gave me the keys, and, that was my choice that I made. So I'm getting out of jail, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, my parents are going to want me to apologize for this, but why do I have to apologize? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything to them. I need to apologize to myself. My dad came and picked me up, brought me home, and we had to go get my car from the impound. And when I tell you I smelled so fucking bad, the detox was unreal. I'm not the best at taking showers as it is, so I don't even know how clean I was when I got in there. And then it was just like the alcohol just oozing out of my body. So I'm home. My parents let me sleep for 12 hours, and then I got up and they wanted to take me somewhere to eat. Went to go get something to eat, and I was just so embarrassed. I cried. I couldn't eat. I felt so ashamed of myself. I felt just, how did this happen to me? Which reminds me of a quote I used to turn to a lot about rock bottom. So an alcoholic's rock bottom will happen when the consequences happen faster than they can lower their morals. Because that's what we do. We make these little moral bargaining. So we come home from grabbing something to eat, and my sister and brother-in-law are there. My other brother is there. My other brother is on the phone. My niece is there, and my parents. And they're having an intervention for me, which was great. Happy for them to have done that for me. It was not easy, and I know with how they dealt with alcoholics in the past that they knew there was a good chance that this wasn't going to stick and that I was going to keep just destroying myself. I did stop drinking. I stopped drinking that day. I am over 12 years sober now. And I remember going to my first AA meeting 4 days after I got out of jail. And I went, and the Leesburg AA Club, I can't even tell you enough how amazing it is. The sobriety in Leesburg I've never experienced anything like it. And I go into this room, and there are two women sitting there, older woman and a younger woman. And they're just sitting there talking to each other. One of them's knitting or crocheting, whatever. And I'm sitting there just shaking like a leaf. And one of them, the older woman, looks over at me and she goes, "So, was this your first meeting?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." "Oh, so what'd you do?" I said, "I got a DUI." And she was like, "Just one?" I was like, "Yes." I remember thinking, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me, and this woman is making it seem like it's nothing. What is wrong with her? I would soon be that person as well. After that meeting, it was the Ask It Basket meeting. So you get to write an anonymous question, put it in the basket, and then people answer. I don't remember what I asked, but I think I asked something about how do we do this? And I left that meeting 4 days sober, and one of the guys said to me, "Erin, 4 days will turn into 4 months, and then 4 months will turn into 4 years before you know it. Just keep doing the next right thing." And I remember just the thought of being 4 months sober sent me into a panic attack. I couldn't imagine it. I could not fucking imagine it. I couldn't imagine staying sober. It was so daunting and so scary. But I was like, I have to do it. Well, one, I had to because I was on probation officially, but I kept coming back. I kept coming back. I kept talking to people. I kept doing the next right thing. And that little saying took me so far. And I hope it takes you far too, because if you can just do the next right thing for yourself, or if you're struggling with your sobriety, for your sobriety, just keep doing the next right thing. We would ask each other when certain character defects would come up, are you working towards a drink or away from a drink? Because that was our reality. That was my reality. I had to be diligent about my sobriety, especially in the early years. But I'll tell you, those 4 days did turn into 4 months. And I remember sitting in that meeting and I got my 4-month chip. And everyone was like, great job, Erin. And I was like, thanks. I'm so proud of myself. And this woman comes up to me and she goes, no, you don't get to be proud. You get to be thankful. You get to be grateful. We get to be proud of you. You don't get to be proud. Another thing, another gem stuck with me. Why? Because as alcoholics, we cannot have pride. That will get in the way. Pride can consume us. Pride can take us out of our sobriety. Pride can make us think, we got this. We can handle this. And to which you'll quickly find out you don't got this. It is not about you. It is about your spiritual fitness. It is about humility. It is about doing the next right thing. And doing the next right thing is not pride of your sobriety. And I have spread that message that woman spread to me to so many other women in the program. You don't get to be proud. You get to be grateful. And you better be humble. At around the 3-month mark of my sobriety, I had to go back to court for the DUI. And Judge Buttery, or whatever his name was, I know it was like Butters or something like that, he sentenced me to 2 more nights in jail with the rest of the sentence suspended, and allowing my 15 hours for time served. So I had to go back to jail for 1 more night. And let me tell you, my underwear was not white enough. They made me take it off. So if you're going to jail, wear white, so you can keep it on. Otherwise, you have to take it off. But luckily for me, I had some medication that was prescribed to me that I got off because it made me so tired, but I still had it. So I took it and I went to sleep for the whole time I was in jail. It was great. It was great because 3 months before that, I was thinking, if I have to go back to jail, I'm going to kill myself. I can't handle that. I will kill myself. And this is the type of insane thinking that was happening in my alcoholic brain. Dying was better than facing my consequences. Dying was easier. Killing myself was easier. And I'm so grateful that I did not do that. I had tried to kill myself when I was a teenager, but didn't stick. So I did my jail time, I did my probation, and I would say for the first 5 years of my sobriety, wreckage from my past just kept coming. It would come in the form of court summons for not paying tickets or whatever. It would come in the form of credit card debt. It would come in the form of people. And it was hard. It was really hard. I remember the first year that passed that nothing came up from my past. And I breathed a sigh of relief. I mean, the Mini Cooper I got arrested in, I bought in a really bad deal. So even that purchase, the financial wreckage of my past followed me around for no less than 5 years. I am thriving now. How did I do it? I worked the steps. I'm a bit of a different case than most AAs. I mean, everyone's unique in their own way, but like the entire journey in sobriety, I had a therapist, a psychotherapist, I had a psychiatrist, I was under the watch of a doctor the whole time. So when I decided to get a sponsor, I only wanted to work the steps once. And it was with my third sponsor, I think, where we finally like got into it. And it was easy to do the first step. I am powerless over alcohol. And I will forever be powerless over alcohol. And the God one was very difficult. I wasn't going to call God. I was going to say the universe, which I still kind of do. Now I use all the words intermittently. So I remember, you get to that fourth step, and that's where you have to take inventory. It's where you have to write down all the things from your life that you're maybe not proud of, but that you need to face. The wreckage from your past. And then you have to tell someone about it. So for me, I had tried to do the fourth step a few times and it never took. The last time I did it, I decided to go to a park by myself, okay? Went to a park and I wrote it all out. And it was amazing because I had the whole park to myself. And the sun was out. I could feel the universe around me. I could feel support. And as I was nearing the end and trying to kind of think, is there anything else? People started to show up at the park and clouds rolled in. And I could feel the universe say, you did it. And I got out of there. And I did a fifth step with my sponsor, and that was a lot. I just remember this little group of women that I was friends with in my first year of sobriety. We were all crazy because we were all newly sober and just trying to connect the synapses in our brains again. So I had a community. And if you don't have an AA community near you that you resonate with and you're new to being sober, I'm gonna encourage you to just keep going. Keep going. Don't let any negativity from the group keep you from going to the group. Travel. Go to different meetings in different towns. I would do that all the time. I would go to different meetings and meet new people. And I'm not a real super outgoing person. I am, but I wasn't going to make friends. I was going for the sobriety and for the information that a new group might have for me. Because as an alcoholic in recovery, you always have the rooms of AA to go back to. Now, there's a lot of judgmental, crotchety men and ladies in those groups. That goes without saying. Don't let that discourage you. I say that as someone who was discouraged by stuff like that. I had moved about a year into my sobriety to another town. So I no longer had the beautiful community of Leesburg AA, and this new community was just not, I wasn't finding my footing. I felt like an outsider. That's also for many other reasons of, my personality and how I was raised and things like that. I always kind of feel like an outsider, like the black sheep. But through the next right step, through personal inventory, are you making a list of your inventory every day and writing what you're grateful for? It's very important. AA and sobriety teaches us accountability. I can own my shit. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I piss people off. I can own it. I'm not afraid of myself anymore. I'm not afraid of, at this point in my sobriety, I'm almost 13 years sober, I don't really think about alcohol that much anymore. We're alcoholics, so of course we always think about it like a little bit, but I don't think about it like that. Like, I don't crave it. So that is, glossed right over that one. Step one, when you admit you're powerless over alcohol, that is admitting that you don't have control. It is admitting that you have the phenomena of craving. You crave it. You crave alcohol. If you crave alcohol, you're probably an alcoholic. If you have that phenomenon of craving, like even still now, I'm married to a normal person, okay? He's not an alcoholic. He has drinks, like he has beers in the house. I know where every bit of alcohol is in this house. Not because I'm trying to, but because I'm an alcoholic. That's what we do. We clock that shit, okay? We know where it is in case we need it. We don't. We never will again. But I know where it is. So I'm just so grateful for my sobriety. I helped a friend's sister get sober. I helped another friend get sober. I helped my uncle get sober. I spread the word of AA where I could. And again, I don't go to AA anymore. I know it's there for me if I need it. And I know that there's some like poo-pooing on that. But you know what? Do what's best for you and your sobriety. And don't let anyone on the outside tell you otherwise. And if you're struggling with the program, I would tell you to let down your guard. I would tell you to put your bullshit aside and just do what they're telling you to do. Find a good sponsor. How do you find one? Find someone where you want what they have. Find a woman who has great sobriety, has great spiritual fitness, has done the steps. Ideally, who has a sponsor, but like, I don't have a sponsor, so technically I can't sponsor people, but you know what? I'm here for you. If you are struggling with your drinking, there is hope out there. Put it down. Put it down and get to a meeting. Put it down and read Alcoholics Anonymous, okay? Read the stories in there. See if you can identify with some of them. They're old, but the message is the same. So, I will also point out, I did lose some friends in the process. And my husband has lost some friends because of my sobriety. There's nothing better than having people triggered by my sobriety because they have a drinking problem that I would never label them as having. Because that's the other thing. I don't judge other people's drinking. It is none of my business. But if you think you have a problem and you want to talk to me about it, I would love to listen. And that's it. I just listen. I can't make you do anything. I can't tell you about yourself. I can tell you what I've done. And that's why I share today. I share my story. I don't have advice for you necessarily. I have my story. And if you're resonating with parts of my story, please reach out. Reach out. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out where you're going, where you are. Because you deserve it. You deserve sobriety. We all do. Alcohol is poison. It's a toxic chemical. Like, what are we doing? And it's pretty, I don't know. I have 3 little girls, and they see that, you know, my husband drinks, I do not. And they ask me why. And I say, because I'm allergic. And because you're my daughters, you might be allergic too. So when you're old enough to drink, you got to be careful. And that's the messaging. Because that's all I can do. You know? I spread the message. And the message is, don't drink. Don't die. Don't die because of your drinking. Don't do it. Or drugging. That too. You are worth so much more than the ties that alcohol is keeping you down. It's so scary. I know it's so scary. I know you can't imagine your life without alcohol. What would my friends say? I met someone new and they were like, so wait, you don't drink? And I was like, no. And she was like, well, you know, what do you do? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I go out with my girlfriends and I'm like, woohoo, drinking. What do you do? And I said, I go out with my friends and I go, woohoo, without drinking. I don't need it. I can have fun without it. I don't need to let loose. I am loose all the time. And if it weren't for my sobriety and for the program of AA, I don't know that I would be able to be in this beautiful position of a spiritual teacher, of someone who can help you heal from grief and live a positive life. That's what we all want. So I will say it again. My purpose is peace. My purpose is peace. To keep my peace, maintain my peace, and help you find yours. That is my purpose. And this is just one small facet of my story that I found peace at the end of. I hope it inspires you because I never could have imagined the life I have now back then. So there are promises of the program, of the AA program, and I found them to be true. We're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor shut the door on it. We will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. There was a meeting that I had, I think it was a Tuesday night meeting, I can't remember, but we would recite the promises at the end of every meeting, and it was such a beautiful reminder of like, this is what we're working towards. But me and my friend had like a little like hand motion thing that we would do to it. So I almost have it. I almost remember the whole thing, but it's been a while since that meeting, like 11 years. So anyway, the promises are just alive and well. If you do the next right thing and you work the program, you're going to have so much more than you could have dreamed of. So what has sobriety afforded my life? I mean, a husband, a stable relationship where I'm not freaking out like a tornado every 5 minutes. I have 3 beautiful daughters. I have amazing pets. I have this beautiful house and all my artwork. I am able to be a painter. I am able to hold down a job. I am able to effectively navigate my mental health illnesses without alcohol throwing anything off. I'm able to be medicated in a way that works for me. I have a car. I have multiple cars. I have real estate investments. I'm able to just buy things. I'm able to buy things anytime. I don't need to wait for my paycheck. So like back when I was drinking, I would put my bank account in the negative every other week, waiting to get paid because I needed money for drugs and alcohol. Not anymore. I also have since stopped smoking cigarettes. I've been without cigarettes for about 9 years now, so. But that reminds me, one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Focus on one thing at a time. Don't go into AA and be like, I quit drinking, I'm going to stop smoking. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're doing too much. Keep smoking. You're going to need it. Okay? There's a big journey. But free yourself from the chains of addiction and alcoholism. You are tied down. You don't have a choice. Your choice every day is to drink or not drink. That's it. There's no balance. So please, if you're listening and you are resonating with parts of this story, or you want what I have, you want all those beautiful things I just listed off, it starts with one thing, and that's putting down the drink. It's choosing you. Choosing that inner child that needs nurturing. It's choosing to allow yourself to come first. You are worthy. You are worthy of sobriety. You deserve it. You deserve it, and only you can give it to yourself. You're the only one. No one can diagnose you an alcoholic. Only you can do that. It is a horrible disease that we suffer from. And it's self-diagnosed. And sometimes you need outside help to detox from it. Hopefully you're not in that boat. Hopefully you can just stop. Get your health back. So, I think to end this, we should do a little deep breathing. Okay? So I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and out. Move your body as you need to. Breathe in and out. And I want you to find stillness wherever you can. Find stillness, and with each breath in and out, I want you to envision a warm, orange, yellow orb of light growing in the center of your chest. You can feel the warmth in your chest. And allow yourself to sit with that beautiful ball of light at your chest. And with every breath, it grows a little bigger. And a little bigger. And you're going to grow that ball of light until it surrounds you. Sit in the ball of light. Feel the peace. Feel your pain oozing out of your body and into the light. Find yourself. Let go of any feelings of unworthiness. Let go of everything you're trying to be. You shrink the light and you hold it in front of you. It's taken your pain, leaving you light, airy. Give your ball of light with all your pain permission to leave. I want you to come back to your body. I want you to feel your body moving. Imagine white light running through your veins now that that pain is gone. Energy surrounds you. Gently open your eyes. How did that feel? I hope it felt good. It felt good to me. Thank you for listening to my story. Sharing my sobriety is a powerful gift that I give to all of you. If you want to know more or hear more, subscribe to my channel and visit areasontoheal.com for more. Sign up for my email list on there and you'll get meditations like that sent right to your inbox. Thanks again for being here. You all are incredibly amazing. And please don't forget, you are worthy. You're worthy of peace. You're worthy of sobriety. Bye, everyone.